What is up? I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. It is Thursday, August 4th. It is Whitney week. What's up, man?
What's up? How are you?
You sound good. You look good. Your internet troubles must be in the rearview mirror at this point.
Well, we're cautiously optimistic for this show. This is the first time I've been where I'm supposed to be in 4 or 5 days. So far, everything's good. I think we're good, but hey, it could pop up at any time. So that's what she said, by the way. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. But yeah, I'm very happy to be in my New York studio, so to speak.
Oh man, and just in the nick of time, you're about ready to leave, and you finally got the internet situation figured out. So
yep, it's great. Love it. Love it.
I was really hoping we'd have Starbucks in the background tonight.
I went over to the sister's house for the daily show. Didn't work. Called Magic, be like, hey, I'll be at Starbucks in 10 minutes. And so I was there again today. But no, I don't know. Like, listen, I'm not going to say much. It may not be in the rearview mirror. We may have more Starbucks in our future, but as of now, we're good. And listen, I'm in a great mood. The Rockets hit the late pick 5 for $705. The free late pick 4 on the Rockets hit for $187 at Saratoga. 3 winners at Del Mar, 4 winners at Saratoga. Listen, I'm in a great mood now, and I've got internet. So what could go wrong?
Well, I mean, winners takes care of everything, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
yes. Yeah.
You can have a shitty day of no internet, but if you get that pick 5 home or whatever, then who cares? You don't have internet,
It's crazy what's happening at Saratoga. Like, the pick 5 paid $705, and you had Art Collector in it, and it's not like no long shot really won it in any of the 5 races. So it's like, gosh, I feel like I stole something with that one, So I don't know. Maybe people didn't single Art. I thought he was an easy single, but I mean, obviously, he wasn't.
He won it like an easy single. I mean, he just kind of cruised along there. That was, defended his title there. I didn't think it was, it was like the easiest exacta ever to hit. I feel like because I just never. Those 2 ran 1-2 the whole way around.
Yeah, and it's just like Mass Parade wasn't good enough to get to Art Collector, and nobody else was good enough to get to Mass Parade. And you're right, it was like a merry-go-round. It's like watching the carousel in downtown Saratoga just go around and around, and there was not going to be any changing in those positions. So, yeah, it was a formful stakes today for sure, and that could be a theme. Maybe not on Friday. Well, Golden Pal's running tomorrow, so maybe so, but there's a lot of formful looking stakes that we're going to talk about on this show.
Yeah, and not to get ahead of ourselves here because we obviously have we'll get into our picks and all that stuff. But yeah, I kind of got that feeling too. When you look at the test looks very very formful, and Matreya looks very tough. Warlike Goddess looks very tough in her race. Even in these races that might be fun and competitive, they still seem like very formful. It'd be pretty surprising to see someone not named Life is Good or Olympiad, or I'll even throw in Hot Rod, win that thing. And, so it definitely has that feel, but that's, when the good horses are out, that tends to be the case, right?
That's right. Yeah. That's kind of been the case when you see these big days, especially on the NYRA circuit. It's just hard to beat some of these horses. We complain about short fields, but I mean, when you get Matreya, Warlike Goddess, Life is Good, and Olympiad, it's like, I don't know if I really want to go up against those horses right now at Saratoga on the first weekend of August, But listen, it's going to be a hell of a day. I'm pumped about it. If you're not, I'm sorry, but I am. And I think it's going to be, these are showdowns. That Whitney, well, we'll get into it. It's going to be a big time race.
Oh, it's for what it is, considering a smaller field, people want to bitch about it. It's got big time potential to be a race that we'll be talking about all year, as far as, because, it's not just that. There are horses that are legit classic contenders as well. It's a classic, when you're in. So it's a race that you could see a very pivotal point for a lot of these horses, Olympiad and Life is Good, and even Hot Rod. Can any of these horses break through here and win? And yeah, we'll be talking about it all year. So it has the makings of you love these kind of races when you have the really good fast horse and you get that really, really good stalker closer or whatever. And you have that here with Olympiad and Life is Good. We know there's no secret there. Life is Good is going to be on the lead, and Olympiad's going to try to do his thing. And that, it's what we always look for, right? When you hit the top of the stretch, you say, here we go.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really going to be something. I was sitting here thinking today, as I was kind of finishing up the guide, is this a better Whitney than last year's? And I think it is, because I think while last year had the star power, I think you and I, when we went to that race, we were like, yeah, Nixco's going to murder him. Here, it's like, I don't know, like there's a better challenger for that favorite. I think Life is Good is that favorite, obviously. But I think Olympiad is a better horse than Maxfield and can challenge where Maxfield really couldn't challenge Nixco. But, that was a great race last year, too, because you had Silver State, who was on that long winning streak, including a Met Mile win. And you had the Philly Swiss Skydiver. But, now you got Hot Rod Charlie. You got a horse like Happy Saver. I think American Revolution is going to scratch. So, but last year it was a great race and produced the Breeders' Cup Classic winner. I would not be shocked one bit if it produces another one this year.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, let's talk about any thoughts before. Obviously, we have a huge show here. We got Whitney, and we got Saratoga Derby, the Oaks, a couple of Breeders' Cup winner ends. But any thoughts on last weekend's Jim Dandy? Of course, the Curlin. We saw Artorias just dominate that race. Looked really, really good. Obviously, heading to the Travers, and then Epicenter kind of redeemed himself a little bit from the Preakness and the Derby and looked really, really good in the Jim Dandy. Kind of the 3-year-old. We talked a lot about that 3-year-old situation. Did it clear anything up for you, or are you just as confused as you were before?
No, I mean, I do think it cleared some things up. It was really just a lot of fun to be there for those races you mentioned, the Curlin and the Jim Dandy. The Curlin definitely was one that got me up out of my seat, pumping my fist, because we all really liked Artorias and he ran fantastic. The time wasn't like as fast as say the Jim Dandy, and he didn't get a flashy number buyer wise, but man, he did that so easily, right? Like, it's like, yeah, okay, maybe the time wasn't as fast as the Jim Dandy. The buyer's just a 95, but man, he did it like a horse that looks like he's got a big future. So excited about him and see if he can make that step up. Epicenter, he was just fantastic. There's no other way to put it. He was fantastic in the Jim Dandy. Tawny Port, we kind of knew what he was going in, we thought, and he kind of ran like it. He's good, not great. Zandon, it just kind of seems like he just can't finish the deal. He had every chance. I would take a big black marker and draw a line through early voting. And I realize if you watch that race from home, you're like, what are you talking about? That's a dumb comment. If you would have seen him before the race, you wouldn't be surprised by how he ran. That was one of the bad things about it. Immediately when he crossed the road and came onto the path to get to the paddock, I was standing right there. And we Sylvain was with me. I met Sylvain Saturday, and Ricky was with me. We looked at each other and we're like, oh God, he looks bad, because the other 3 horses in the race looked like superstars, right? Mm-hmm. And early voting never picked up his head. His head was like this the whole time. So I followed him all the way to the paddock. He never picked up his head, in the paddock. Jose Ortiz was holding the reins like this to hold his head up in the post parade. Yeah. I don't know what was the matter with him, but I looked at those guys and said, there is no chance he's winning. Like, he looks awful. So I draw a line through it. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know when we'll see him again. But anyway, bottom line, Epicenter looked great. Zandon looked good, which is how he's always looked. And I thought Artorias is an up-and-comer. And by the way, Jackie's Warrior was worth the price of admission on Saturday. That was awesome as well.
Yeah, he's a beast. And there was comments afterwards as well from Chad, kind of commenting on it's funny. Obviously, I had the benefit of talking to you and knowing that, being there, but he had made some comments after the race about how early voting had he wasn't happy with how he was before the race. And I don't know, obviously, we talked about this a lot last week. We're like, he's not like, he already has hand, you know what I mean? Like, he's not going to run this horse in this race if he's not ready. So clearly it wasn't, he wouldn't have ran him if he was going, if he looked like that. So something happened that day or right before the race or whatever he didn't like, but he ran like shit too.
I'm not claiming to be Maggie, Wolfendale, or Acacia. I'm not at all, but I've been around horses long enough now and seen them come in that paddock and seen them walk down, that road to get to the paddock. And I know when one doesn't look right. and he looked awful. And you're right, he was doing great. That's why he was in the race, because he was doing so good leading up to the race. He looked awful. Jared, it reminds me of when I'll say, because you were at the Kentucky Oaks when we saw Secret Oath and we knew we were fucked because we didn't have her. This was the opposite. I saw Larry voting. I was like, well, I'm done. Like, he has no shot. He looked awful. Even when he got out to the lead, I was like, it's not going to happen today. Like, he just looked terrible. That's interesting. I didn't see the comments from Chad, but it's interesting that he said, hey, he was not good.
Well, and they're also they're saying that Travers is still potential for him. He seems more likely for the Travers than Zandon does, really, it sounds like.
I feel like if he enters the Travers, and I mean, keep your eyes on him. If he's spunky, so to speak, I don't know if that's the right word or not, but if he lifts his head up, okay, I would not be afraid to play him back, because that was not him at all. And I realize if you just watch that on television, you're thinking, well, this is really just a crazy comment, because he got everything his own way. He should have won, right? If you saw him in that paddock, you're amazed he finished. He was so horrifically bad looking. And again, I don't know what was wrong with him. Obviously, physically, nothing was wrong with him, right? But I don't know why was he hot? Was he just upset that day about something? I have no idea. He looked asleep the whole race, or the whole time. So,
side note, yes, Kevin, we did see this. John White sent it to us as well. We were looking at that. It's funny. I put out the all of a sudden Taiba's like really in the spotlight again. You know, I do the video, which by the way, I watched Dude to Bet. I'm going to try to talk about Taiba as much as I possibly can on today's show, just for you. I heard it. I don't think I didn't hear it. So I'm going to try to talk about Taiba as much as I can, just to piss you off. But yeah, John. And then I did that video. If you haven't seen it, go to YouTube. Three reasons why I still think Taiba can win the Classic. John White comes out and gives some analysis of the future wager, talking about Taiba being his bet. And then this article comes out today on Blood Horse about Taiba's connections, talking about Travers still a possibility, and obviously the Pin Derby. I'd be surprised if both of those if it's Travers and Pin Derby. I've said this to people that have asked me about it. I just would have a hard time. I have a hard time believing that the owner, who obviously Medina Spirit owner as well, you know, Country Grammar owner, that he would willingly leave Baffert just to run in the track. If he's suspended, we know that obviously we saw that it happened. I don't know about you, but I think more it's like let the horse. I would rather him run in something easy, like before the Pin Derby. If they're dead set on running a race between now and the Pin Derby, you run an allowance race. You could run an allowance race, couldn't you? I mean, you could run in anything. So find something other than I talked about on the video. This horse has ran in 3 straight grade 1s. Like that, and if you do that, it'd be 5 straight grade 1s. It's just insane.
I feel like, and I said it the week after, his biggest problem are the people around him. Like, they've just asked him to do very, very difficult things. To me, the Pin Derby, I'm going to crush him in that race. I think it's a perfect race for him. I don't think, listen, he can win the Travers, but I don't think that's the smartest way to bring him about and bring him into the Classic. I'm agreeing with you. If you're going to run him before the Pin Derby, find a spot to build the confidence, go crush the Pin Derby, and then you're flying high into the Breeders' Cup. Maybe he goes and wins the Travers, but it may take a ton out of him. This horse still doesn't have the foundation. Build him up for if I'm going to bet him in the Breeders' Cup Classic Future Pool, which I'm not, but if I was, the Travers is not something I would be rooting for.
No, I completely agree. When I saw that, I thought, please do not do the Travers. I think it's just talking right now. Because again, not only for the horse, but then they have to change trainers, and it'd just be a whole deal. I don't see it happening. By the way, Kevin also says Raiders are whooping up on the Jags. So what was the line on that?
2.5, -2.5 for the Raiders. So
there you go. Up there. What is it? 14-0?
It's 13-0 right now. So
look at you. Look at you.
It's very early, so I wouldn't get too excited.
It's also preseason. The starters will be gone in the next. Well, the starters aren't even playing.
No, starters played.
The quote unquote starters of this game will be out now. So now you don't even know what's about to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, Dudes Who Bet. Make sure you guys go check out Dudes Who Bet Daily. We were on fire yesterday. I think the picks have done well today again.
So far.
We give our best bets for that day. One best bet, and obviously you can, sports, obviously, horse racing, whatever. Dudes Who Bet Daily. Look for that on our YouTube page. We do that every morning, Wednesdays through Sunday. All right, how about we get into? We have a sort of big race this weekend, right? Let's talk about it. This weekend, the Whitney Stakes. That's right. We're going to preview and get picks for the $1 million Whitney Stakes right here at Saratoga, a Breeders' Cup winner in for the 2022 Breeders' Cup Classic. Your boy Halterman will be there live as well. This dude lives at Saratoga on the weekends. And then we're going to wrap our selections for some of the remaining stakes action this weekend at Del Mar. Mountaineer. That's right. Mountaineer makes an appearance on Rapid Fire, West Virginia Derby, and the Spa, including the Saratoga Derby. We have a couple. How about that? The Whitney's awesome. You get the Saratoga Derby Invitational on that card, which is a grade $1 million race. Back-to-back grade $1 million races on the card Saturday at Saratoga. Let's talk about it right now. Let's go.
That's how we do. It is like
with the field sizes.
I battle the internet problems and everything, but then you get to the weekend, it's like, oh yeah, that's why I'm here. Okay, it's gonna be all right. And then you battle the internet problems for 5 days. It's like, okay, yeah, I remember. That's why I'm here, Saratoga. It's a lot of self-talk.
Oh man, and I know I'm gonna get people asking. Yeah, I was gonna go. That was the plan all along. And then I looked at flights and I thought, we need somebody home base. And Magic has no one. You guys are gonna be at the track. Samich is playing golf or something. And so me and Magic will hold the fort down on the live stream. We'll be live. I don't know. I think we're gonna be live for I just told them, let me know when we're going. We're gonna be live all day. Definitely for that stretch of stakes races. So make sure you look for us on, for the social media and all the different channels. We'll announce what times we're going live. But yeah, Magic and I imagine we'll try to get Halterman on from time to time as well when he can.
My goal is to station up in the paddock and show the horses, but with the track internet is not great, and my phone internet works better than the track internet. So hopefully I'll be able to connect for you guys.
Just think, if you had $1 for every time you said internet on this trip of yours, you wouldn't have to bet a single horse. So.
I mean, with the track, it's expected it's going to be sketchy. I was able to get on for Jackie's Warrior reaction, and that was good. So, hopefully I'm on there at some point for some of this.
All right. Well, if nothing else, you'll see me in Magic. So
yes, yeah.
Which I don't know if that's good or bad.
It's good.
So I've been out of pocket for the last couple hours, but American Revolution is he going to scratch? I haven't heard that.
Supposedly, yes, he is going to scratch.
Okay.
I took him out of all the plays. So
where are we hearing this?
Twitter has said it.
All right.
It's a good source.
That sucks.
It does suck.
So, all right. Saturday at the Spa, race 10, the Whitney Stakes, grade 1, worth $1 million for 4-year-olds and up, going 1/18 miles. It is a Breeders' Cup win in your in event for the Breeders' Cup Longines Classic this fall at Keeneland. So you win here, you're in the Classic, and that's important for a few of these horses who are trying to get themselves there. Field of 6 going to be scratched down from a field to a field of 5, it sounds like, with American Revolution possibly scratching is what we've heard, or at least Halterman's heard, and has reported that news to us. So I don't know that you and I necessarily thought he could win. I mean, I think if he won, it would be not the most total shock, but he's out. The plan is out. So now it's Life is Good. It's versus Olympiad. You got the front end speed versus the Olympiad's, 5-race win streak coming off the pace. Just been unbelievable, just destroying fields. They give him a bigger class. doesn't matter. It keeps going up the chain there. It's not a problem. So can Olympiad run down Life is Good? And let's not forget Hot Rod Charlie as well. This is a horse that has done, very little wrong in his career, over $5 million in earnings, second place on that return in the Salvador Mile, which was, he ran a good race, just got beat by Mind Control that day going a mile. Definitely wants to go longer. He finished second at the Dubai World Cup to Country Grammar. So can he upset this field? And I mean, how do you digest this thing, man?
Yeah, I mean, Hot Rod Charlie certainly can upset the field if you're going to take a price. And in a 6-horse field, will be bet down to 5 or be cut down to 5 if in fact American Revolution scratches. Hot Rod's going to be a decent price. And I don't blame anybody for trying to take a shot and saying, hey, he's already beaten Life is Good this year. And, he's going to bounce back. I think he being Hot Rod is going to run a very good race here. He always does, right? He'll run a race today that would have won the last race by 6, but the problem is now he's facing horses that are even better than what he faced in Mind Control. I think it's down to Olympiad and Life is Good. I don't think Hot Rod Charlie can pull the upset. It just kind of feels like Life is Good's going to the front. Olympiad's going to make the move. Can he catch him? I don't think he can. I think Life is Good is just too good. I think people are still a little worried about that last 16th of a mile for Life is Good. I think he'll be too far ahead. I think he'll be able to outrun Olympiad to the wire. I think a big key is, will Hot Rod Charlie put pressure on Life is Good? Every time we kind of think, Hot Rod Charlie needs to put pressure on this horse, he doesn't really do it. Think back to the Breeders' Cup, right? It's like, Hot Rod Charlie, he's going to press Nick's Go. Yeah, he didn't. I don't think he'll go out and press Life is Good either. I think he'll sit off of him and hope that he doesn't get the distance and he can get him. I don't think that's going to be a problem. I think Life is Good does get the distance. I think he gets out ahead. And he'll be awfully tough to catch him in this spot.
I mean, my thing is with him is if you want to critique him for the mile and 1/8 distance, he went into the Pegasus at a mile and 1/8 and just annihilated Nick's Go, who ran second. I mean, it wasn't like Nick's Go just was like a California Chrome and just didn't run at all. I mean, he tried. It was so clear how much of an advantage how much better he was than Nick's Go. And let's not forget Nick's Go had just won the Classic, going gate to wire. So I don't know that I understand how you can not like a mile and 1/8 for him. I mean, granted, he will have a better horse, because Nick's Go is taken out of his game a little bit there. He'll have a better horse trying to come get him that he did that day. But still, I thought, the whole plan was for them was to get a race under his belt, which they got in the Johnny Narude, and then to go here, obviously. And they still have, the Dubai World Cup did not shake them at all in terms of the goal with going to the Classic with this horse. I mean, from what I can tell and what I've heard and what I've read, Pletcher seems very adamant that this is a Classic horse, and so I just don't see any reason why here, when he's lone speed, that's going to change my mind.
I mean, no, not at all. I think that's very well said. And listen, they're not stupid. These are not stupid people, right? If they didn't think he could go a mile and 1/8 and win this race, they would have went somewhere else with him. So I don't have any issues with the distance. I think the issue is the number 4 Olympiad is a stud. He's really good. And if he runs that same race he ran last time out in the Stephen Foster, he will be really tough to hold off, even if Life is Good runs a very good race. So he better be 100% on his game or he will get run down. And that's the biggest difference to me. You looked at last year and it was the same thing. Nick's Go had the pace advantage. It's like, okay, can Swiss Skydiver was the one that maybe she can press, and she couldn't. But he did have, Maxfield couldn't run him down. Maxfield wasn't that good. I mean, he was good, but he wasn't like a great horse. Olympiad is kind of teetering on being a great horse, right?
Yeah.
And you do have that other horse, as Mall, whatever there points out. Hot Rod Charlie's not chopped liver. When he runs his best race, you have to run a pretty good race to beat him. So he, like you said, he's got better horses trying to come and get him, because in the Pegasus, Knicks Go taken out of his game. He's not a horse that's going to close on you. So once he got ahead of him, that was kind of it. Hot Rod Charlie, Olympiad, they can come get you, right? We've seen him do it. Hot Rod Charlie hasn't done it often, but damn, he tries to do it often. That's the thing. He's got good horses chasing him.
And and to me, I love Hot Rod, obviously.
I do too.
Won me in the fantasy league last year. I mean, he's gonna have a soft place in my heart forever. But the thing about him is, and that's why, and part of the reason why you love him so much is because of the way he runs. He's such a gutty horse. He gives it all. He tries. He obviously, being the horse that was, 95 to 1 or whatever he was in the Breeders' Cup, to get to where he's at now is just unbelievable. The problem is with him, why I can't trust that he will get it done is, while he did win the Haskell, he lost after the DQ, but he won the Haskell, and he wins the Pennsylvania Derby. Were great races, but he still, he beat Midnight Bourbon and Mandaloon, whatever. But the races that were like the big time, the Dubai World Cup, Country Grammar, like you mentioned it. You said he just can't quite. He runs really good race, but he just can't quite get it done. Like, there's always in those big races, there's someone else. He runs the race that the race of his life, almost the race that will win the Belmont almost every year. But there just happened to be another little bit better horse in there that day, and that was Essential Quality, who just got him, and Country Grammar got him in Dubai, and in the San Antonio Express train, he probably shouldn't have lost that Hot Rod, but still, point is, he just can't quite break through in these big races. And in this race, he's got not one but two horses that I think are top level horses in Life is Good and Olympiad. So it's just, there's too much for me to say he's not shown that he can do it before, and now he's got to beat two of them.
Yeah, I agree. And I want to comment on John Doe's comment here. It's amazing how this crop has been so good. And John, you didn't even mention a couple other horses that aren't like classic distance horses. Jackie's Warrior was in that crop. Golden Pal was in that crop. Right? I mean, these horses are really, really just monsters, and it's been fun to watch them.
Just think how good Essential Quality would be this year if they would have kept him around instead of retiring, because he was a monster himself. So it's really, really good.
Really, just a fantastic.
Medina Spirit. I mean, Medina Spirit was still alive. I mean, gosh, he was. I mean, that was like that crop, man. It just goes on and on.
Well, even American Revolution to some degree is pretty damn good, And he's another one that didn't make the Triple Crown. So, they were just a great crop, no doubt. I do want to comment, Hot Rod Charlie, real quick. You hit it on the head. He just, every time he's in one of these big ones, he runs better than he runs when he's in the smaller ones, but he's just not quite good enough. He's got one of these races, like his name is on it, and maybe it's going to be Saturday, right? But boy, he's come so close.
He deserves one. He does.
Yes.
Because I mean, especially the Pennsylvania Derby is only credit to him as far as that grade 1 win, when he could have won the Belmont at a grade 1, should have won the Haskell, got DQ'd.
Yeah.
The Pennsylvania Derby, that's a grade 1, great, but it's still, could have won Dubai, like all these big grade 1s that just, he's been right there.
Yeah.
And can't quite get it done. So I agree with you. He will. I mean, it seems like he's inevitable to just sneak up there and win one of these one time. And so to that point, it seems like a 2-horse race, but how close are you to saying, you know what, I better include Hot Rod in my multis because I don't want him to beat me? Are you just not? Are you going to let him beat you because it doesn't make sense? I think you could make a case because the sequence there can be somewhat chalky, so you can make a case to go deep in this leg, right?
It's a key of. You can include him because you've got Maturea in the test. And so if you're gonna play through her, you can include him. But then you're gonna have to go a little shorter in the Saratoga Derby than maybe you want to, because I think that race is wide open. So it's tough. You're gonna have to make a decision on what you want to do with that.
If Zoomer wins, we will all need CPR, Kevin. I saw in the guide, not to give spoilers, but don't be surprised. Halterman didn't pick Zoomer. No. He said, I think the line was, this would be a bigger upset than Rich Strike winning the Kentucky Derby.
Yep.
So there you
I
go.
really believe that.
I looked over this. I tried, being like we talked about a lot when you play tournaments and all these things, like you just immediately start looking at these long shots first and like, how can this horse win? And you're like, why is this horse even in this race? Which I guess you could have said about Rich Strike, but still, like, he's clearly just filler. And Gary Barber was just like, hey, we should run him here. We just claimed the horse. Let's run him here. I guess.
I mean, I don't blame him. It's a short field, and maybe a couple of these horses just kind of won't show up, and this horse will just kind of chunk up there for third and get lucky. Yeah.
It's $1 million race, get third. I mean, shit. Yeah.
Try
Not bad, I guess, right?
Yep.
I get, now the American Revolution out as well. I mean, it makes it easier. So, so out of these, we did talk about Happy Saver. Make the case for Happy Saver here. Because I'll be honest with you, and I don't want to say sneaky because I don't want to be too I don't know that he's good enough, but he strikes me as the kind of horse that could go up and win one of these races eventually where you're like, really? Happy Saver? I just can't get past, Olympiad just dusted him in Al Sheba. He just seems like a horse that's a quintessential play underneath horse just all day long, right? Put him in second, key him in second, because this horse definitely shows up, just not good enough.
I mean, it just feels like he's going to run his race and get third. Like a couple of them are going to go on and a couple of them are going to get discouraged. And he's just, kind of the tortoise in the hare. He's just the tortoise that's going to pass the ones that stopped. He's never missed the board in 10 starts, but he's lost 5 in a row, and he's lost 5 in a row because he's just matched up against horses that are a little better than he is. And I just don't think he's good enough to beat Olympiad, Life is Good, and Hot Rod Charlie, all 3 of them. Can he beat 1 or 2 of them if they don't run very well? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think all 3 of them are going to have to run poorly.
And that's the problem with what Kevin said. I understand what he's saying, but that's the problem. It's like, well, if Life is Good can't get the distance and Olympiad gets tired and Hot Rod Charlie gets tired, then I think he can win. And that's true. That's a lot of things to happen. I mean, sure, could he be a horse that Life is Good doesn't fire, whatever reason, can't get the distance? He fades like, Happy Saver, you key him in second or third. I don't think you have a problem, right?
Yeah.
But him winning the thing. And so I'll pivot that question into a follow-up. And we kind of do this with all these kind of races. How many of these, obviously Hot Rod, Olympiad, and Life is Good. These are all, I think even Happy Saver I have ranked in my top 10 in the classic rankings. But I know I have, Olympiad and Life is Good and Hot Rod Charlie all in my top 5, top 6 in my classic ranking. So point is, they're all pointing to the classic. So what needs to happen here for you to take one more seriously, less seriously? If Life is Good loses here, are you completely tossing him from the classic discussion? Like, how are you looking at this?
I mean, I guess if Life is Good loses, you almost do toss him from classic contention.
Feels that way a little bit, right? Yeah.
Unless he loses like a hell of a damn race and it's like a photo, but if he fades hard for second or third, he kind of is out of it. But I think on the before we really dive into, okay, how did it happen? Hot Rod Charlie, Olympiad, Life is Good are probably all going to advance out of this race to the classic. American Revolutions is going to scratch, but if you want to count him, I think he's a classic contender. Yeah, and I think Happy Saver's one you run in. So I think all of them except for Zoomer will point to the classic after this, and so It's crazy.
Dude, my concern, and I think I've alluded to this in the past, but can Olympiad stay in this form? It's so long for this horse to stay in form. We're talking about January, the whole year. So he'd have to stay in form for 12 months, basically 11 months, in order to fire his top race in the Breeders' Cup. He strikes me as a horse that had a great year, a great summer. Maybe he wins even the Whitney as well here. But do I trust him in the Classic? Hell, I wouldn't. You wouldn't even. He's one of those horses that you wouldn't even be surprised isn't in the Classic. Did he have too hard of a campaign? So he's an interesting one moving forward.
He's got a great trainer, and that's the good news. I mean, this guy's one of the best trainers of all time. So, especially with keeping a form on a horse. So that's in his favor. But you're right. The bubble at some point feels like it will burst on this horse. And that's not being negative or knocking the horse. It's just that's how horse racing is. You have to be elite to win 5 in a row at the stakes level, let alone you're going to ask him to, if he wins the Classic, probably to win 7 or 8 in a row. It's going to be tough. And the bubble could be Saturday, or it could be he runs his ass off Saturday and then it bursts. He's a hell of a horse. They've done a great job with him, right? How it shakes out from here on out, I don't really care about. He has done a great job with this horse. This is not one that we thought would just be an absolute monster coming into the season, and he has been. So, but you're right. It's awfully tough to hold a horse's form from January all the way to November at the championship level.
We'll see, right? It's we still don't even know. I think we know he's very good. I think you're right to say he's maybe not like great yet. You got, because you go back and you look kind of, and obviously he thrashed those fields, but he's not faced a horse like Life is Good. He has not faced a horse even, I would say, like Hot Rod Charlie, really. I mean, I guess American Revolution last time out is the closest, but if American Revolution is your toughest horse you faced, that tells you like the class level definitely is getting deeper here, and Life is Good certainly is going to make it difficult for you to come get. He hasn't faced a horse that is that. I mean, it's Flight Line, and then right underneath him is Life is Good in terms of that front end, just deadly speed.
Yeah, no
Jackie's
doubt.
Warrior, put Jackie's third.
Yeah, I mean, in a different division, but certainly a monster too.
Speed. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I keep thinking back to when Life is Good and Jackie's Warrior ran 7 furlongs and how fun of a race that was. And Life is Good shouldn't have lost. And that was Jackie's Warrior's game. And Life is Good really should have beat him that day if it wasn't for Mike Smith. So we'll see, man. I really thought Olympiad was just a small cut below until that last race. That last race was so good.
It was.
And that has me going, you know what? He might do it Saturday.
He'll become and we can wrap it up now after this, but he will become a very frustrating horse if he wins this race. And what I mean by that is if he wins here, and obviously that means he beat Life is Good, and let's say Life is Good runs a good race and he still beats him, then all of a sudden you're like, well, he is the real deal. Who can't? I mean, can he chase down Flight Line next? You don't know. But then you start to wonder, can he fire that same race like we talked about? Can he get to that race in this kind of form? It's one of those like, damn it, why isn't the race now? Because he is that good. So just got to be careful with him, I think, moving forward. Keep an eye on his form, how he's running. Does he look the same? Those kind of things as we move into the fall. You got to think Whitney, one more, right?
Yeah.
I guess stay at Saratoga.
I mean, when you talk about the bounce theory and horses that bounce, he does have that chance because that was a big step up, and now he could regress back, a little bit. But yeah, I mean, you take this one and one more, and then go to the Classic. So,
yep.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm telling you, it's gonna be fun. You can talk about this race forever. These horses are just really interesting and good horses. I
cannot wait to watch this live, even though I won't be live at the track like you will. That will be amazing. But just to watch it live, you get the nerves going. I got the nerves. Anytime you have that kind of build up for a battle, you know it's going to be a battle. At least, I think back as recent as like the Nest versus Secret Oath, even though that was not a battle at all. But and on paper, it felt like it was about to be a battle. Even when they hit the kind of the turn, you're like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
And then obviously she put her in a rearview mirror. But that's what this race has that feeling where it's like, you're going to see Life is Good, Cruz on the front end. Here comes Olympiad with that big run. Pratt's got is riding on Hot Rod. Here we go. Like, here's the stretch run. And I got chills right now thinking about it. I mean, I think it's going to be that kind of race. Life is Good. Can he go gate to wire and do it again? This time in the Whitney. Halterman and I both think he can. Make sure you guys watch the Whitney on Saturday. Life is Good. That's our pick to win the 2022 Whitney Stakes. Oh, yeah. That's going to be great.
Yeah. It really is. I mean, the thing is, like, last year, like, you're a huge Maxfield fan, but you knew, I mean, you're a bigger fan of him than I was, but you still, even you, was like, yeah, he can't beat that horse.
Yeah,
So
I thought there was almost zero chance of him beating that horse.
We're here, and again, I probably the biggest Life is Good fan that there is, but we were huge Knicks Go fans too, but like, I'm a big Life is Good fan, but I'm sitting here telling you, if Olympiad runs that same race again, it's going to be a fucking showdown between those two. And Hot Rod ain't bad either. So it's a lot more interesting this year.
It's going to be tight. Let's just say that. Because I think the point like I made where it's like, okay, well, he definitely, he looked amazing in the Pegasus, but he also didn't have anybody. His only horse trying to run him down was Knicks Go, who clearly was not that was not his wheelhouse, No. And so he's going this kind of distance. Of course, I guess you could say in Dubai, but he hasn't had a horse running him down, if can Olympiad. And the other thing is like, which I don't think he will, but can Life is Good do enough early to kind of, what do you want to say? Like, how sometimes these horses go so fast early where these horses trying to run with them are just like, fuck, what am I can't, can he get enough separation? Can he put enough like pressure on Olympiad to stay close early in the race that he loses a little bit of that kick late in the race?
If he does what he did in the Pegasus, forget it. It's over. Like, that's what he did in the Pegasus. He just said, fuck everybody else in this race, right? If he can do that, they're not going to catch him. I promise you. But listen, what he did in the Pegasus, that's not easy to do at all. To open up like 12 links on the rest of the field. I mean, that's not easy. So I can't sit here and say I expect him to do that again. I think he'll try, but that's going to be tough.
Well, all right, let's do some rapid fire. We're going to do, we're going to Saratoga a little bit more. We're going to go to Del Mar. And how about some Mountaineer? I know you're itching for Mountaineer, aren't you?
Of course. Yes, of course.
Who's not, right? All right. Time for rapid fire presented by our inside track to the 2022 Whitney Stakes wagering guide. The Whitney Stakes wagering guide now available at racingdudes.com on our products page. It's 12-page wagering guide to the 2022 Whitney Stakes. Features in-depth analysis of all 5 stakes races. Again, there's 3 grade 1s on the card. 5 stakes, including the $1 million Whitney Stakes at Breeders' Cup winner in for the Longines Classic. You get bonus race-by-race analysis and betting suggestions and multi-race plays for the entire card. All 5 stakes, the entire card at Saratoga, all included in this wagering guide. You can see it there on the screen. It's a beauty. The Saratoga Showstopper, Life is Good, Olympiad square off at the spa. And there you go. Here's everything you get with it. But right now, go get it at racingdudes.com. On the products page, just click Get Racing Dudes Premium button there at the top. You can see it there, or you can search Whitney Stakes Guide or whatever you want to do, and you can find it and access that thing right now. You get it free if you are a premium subscriber as well. So another benefit to that. So make sure you go ahead and get your hands on the Whitney Stakes wagering guide. All right, let's say we go. What do you think of the Hall of Fame, Halterman? You think the Hall of Fame sounds good? This is This will be ran on Friday. All right, race 8, the National Museum. Hang on, let me pull up on the screen here. I need someone to.
So, go ahead. You're
what
good.
You got?
I was gonna comment on these comments, but nah, it's all right.
Go for it. Go.
Well, people are like, well, that Pegasus field, what was it? And yeah, like we said, as far as closers that could close into him, there wasn't anybody. But don't act like it's not a big deal that he opened up like 7 links on Nick's Go, who had never been behind in a race under Brad Cox. Like, yeah, there wasn't any closers, but there wasn't a horse that could get close to Nick's Go early, and he opened 7 on him. So don't take that for granted, is what I'm saying. Because if he can do that again in Saratoga, they're not going to catch him.
He just what he did to Nick's Go was one of those where it was one of those where you just kept wondering how this is going to play out with these two going to the lead. Yeah. And of course, don't forget that Life is Good. It just completely dominated the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile as well. And so, what are they going to do? And you knew real quick, oh, well, Life is Good is just a lot better.
If you're betting against him, you don't want to see him do that again on Saturday. If you're betting against him and he's there within a couple links of him, you got a shot. And that's what we're saying. If the closers are within range coming for home, they've got a great shot. But if he buries them, forget it. It doesn't matter how fast he goes. If he buries them, they're not going to get him.
No. Nope.
And you go back, you watch Dubai, they were within range of him. He couldn't. His devastating move is the same as Nick's Go. He crushes them before they could make their move.
And that's what makes me think that it's not complete bullshit. Like they say, he never liked the track. Like he was like something, he just didn't like, and it makes me, there is something to that, I think, because the fact that he never even got any kind of separation, which is not like him at all. That, if he goes and does his thing and then fades, then you're like, well, whatever. That's different, but he never really, and he still tried hard. Came back, obviously bounced back from that race very nicely. I know this. If you're betting Olympiad, if you're betting Hot Rod, you may not admit it, but you are going to be incredibly nervous the first half. Let's say the first quarter comes up, and you're gonna say, "Oh shit, here he goes."
Yeah. You just don't want to get buried. If he can't bury you, you got a great shot to go get him late. And it'll be late, like last 16th of a mile. That's when you can get him. But if he's got you buried, you're done. And so that's the key. Can he do it? That's the $1 billion question.
Yeah, Nick says he was word got out on that horse, and it was like, oh shit, this is like the real deal, and then he got hurt, of course. And then he came back and he thought that it only made it worse because then you realized he really was the real deal. Yeah. Crazy. Anyways. All right. Let's go to Friday at Saratoga, race 8, the National Museum of Racing Hall of Fame Stakes, grade 2, or $200K for 3-year-olds. Going 1 mile on the turf, field of 9. Shows up for this one, Halterman, tomorrow at the spa. And, 3-year-olds kind of getting back, some of these have been on this, whether they were on the Derby Trail or sort of on the Derby Trail or, whatever it is. Some of them have been on the turf the whole time, but some of them are getting back to the turf. And I say that because Tiz the Bomb, I know he's back in the Belmont Derby, but that was one of those instances as well. It's like, okay, you haven't seen the turf since the Breeders' Cup after trying the Kentucky Derby, and now you're running in a grade 1, and obviously that didn't go well. He's back on the turf, has a race under his belt on the turf. He's in a division that he belongs in on the turf. He's a turf horse. Did he get ruined by the Derby Trail, or do you think he can win and finally get back in the winner's circle? On turf, I should say, because I guess he did win synthetic.
He can win, no doubt. I can't do it. I couldn't get there. I just couldn't put him on top. There's no question he can win. I'll probably throw him in the multis for sure, but I just couldn't do it, Jared. I can't play this McPeak favorite. I just can't. you know. So I went with Shan Show, the one, or Shan Show, the one horse for Todd Pletcher, who got beat last time out by Annapolis and a couple other horses in this race. I don't know. I just look at this one. I say, there's not a ton of speed in here. We're changing to Irad over Pratt, and I think that's a good thing right now because Irad is hot, red hot, and that's not a knock on Pratt, but Irad's red hot. He's kind of the top rider for Pletcher right now. I think Shan from this rail is going to get out there and get the lead. I think he's going to be really tough to run down over this turf course. I'm going to take a shot with Gate to Wire with the number one horse here.
Here's the thing. I feel like I'm in a bad position right now because I recorded the video. I did the preview for this on our YouTube page earlier in the week. Odds weren't out yet. I was kind of hoping for a 5-1-ish on Tiz the Bomb. I even said, I did not think he would be 7-2. I get that's not he's not a heavy favorite by any means, but so he's my pick to win. But now I'm I know my rule is I can't play Kenny McPeak as a favorite. So I don't know what to do. He should win. He should win. He should win. He's the best horse in this race.
Agree.
But how much was he ruined by the trail? He obviously you would like to see. He's bet down to 5-1 in the Belmont Derby and never ran a step really. That was kind of the damning part. If he would have ran hard but just didn't win, that's one thing. But I remember, he went to Bourbon, looked awesome. Of course, he looked great in the Breeders' Cup as well, and then goes straight to the Holy Bull from there. So how about this? I think he's the most likely winner, but I can't my own rule I've set. I can't pick him. So I'm going to go to my second horse who I put on the video, which is number 7, Double Clutch.
Yeah.
That was the horse that I was the most intrigued with in this race. I think what's so interesting with him is where Franco is going to put him in this race, because you go back and you watch his debut race, he's way too far back. He has that huge late kick, gets third. The next race, the main special weight, closer this time, has that kick again, sprints by them, was not close. The horse, kind of beat their asses. Then the Manila last time out ran a really nice race. But again, guess what? He was in last place and had to come flying around everybody and try to get there. Couldn't quite get there. Of course, Annapolis ran a huge race, obviously. So that was tough. But if Double Clutch can get in a little bit better position, I think the speed of this race is going to – I like the closers. I like the 6. I like the 7. I like the 9. So I think that the speed is going to fold unlike your strategy there. So, but I like 7 Double Clutch at 5-1 if you're not playing Tiz the Bomb. I just can't. Yeah, what? Yeah, Ed Rose will make sure you don't get that. Yeah, no kidding. So I don't know. Tiz the Bomb. What?
Go ahead.
No, I was just say Tiz the Bomb should win, but by principle, I can't pick him.
I just think he's a classic. I'm not going to play him to win. I'll put him on a pick 5 ticket. Because you look at the race and it's he probably should win. But you just can't. You just can't play a win ticket on him. Now, if he floats up, maybe. But as a favorite, you just can't do it.
It's just because I honestly, and maybe I clearly was pipe dreaming. I was hoping for north of 5-1, and clearly that was not possible here. I just, at a certain point, this horse is we've got to stop hyping this horse and be like, all right, he's got to get back to proving it, So until he gets there, it's kind of a wait and see approach a little bit. In terms of this, and in terms of these odds,
he's going to be a favorite at Saratoga in a grade 2 race. And in his last 2 races, he's lost by 12.5 and 13.25. And one of those races was over the turf.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, he's tough to choke down as a favorite.
Hasn't been in a turf winner circuit. Well, you know what I mean. Since October. So there
it's
you go.
Tough to choke down him as the favorite for a
It's tough to
straight
choke
win
down
rate.
Kenny McPeak ever as a favorite, let alone this situation. So
Exactly. It's tough. So I get it.
yeah, it's tough. Hey, Christopher, by the way, I wanted to bring in this comment. He mentioned that Todd said he might be the most talented horse ever, and he doesn't throw compliments around like that. I think that's we're talking about Life is Good. I wanted to bring that up. And did you see who was it that? Oh, it was Sadler compared Flightline to Galileo. Did you see that?
No, I did not see that. Wow.
Yeah. He thinks he's a generational type horse, one that he'll never have again. He thinks he's that good. Like it was an interview with an Englishman or someone overseas, like a paper or whatever. And he literally brought up. He's like, well, you guys, Galileo, like that's the comparison.
From what he's done on the track, it's hard to say that he might be wrong about that. I think the biggest difference is we just don't see him very often, right? But shit, he's been amazing. I've back to Life is Good for a second. I agree with. I think it's Pletcher's most talented horse that he's ever had.
That's saying something because that dude's had some horses.
He has, but I'm telling this horse is just phenomenal. Think about it. Whatever they ask him to do, he does it. Minus going to Dubai and running a mile and a quarter. Yes, I know he lost, but in this country, he has been ridiculous.
Okay, I don't want to misquote the thing.
Okay,
which I don't think it's necessarily. You all right?
Yeah, just my phone.
I don't think it's too much of a difference, but not Galileo. Frankel, still pretty damn good.
Yeah,
that's pretty much tomato, right? But once in a generation type horse. He says Frankel might be the equivalent. So we'll see. All right, let's go to the next race here. Let's go to that back to Saturday at Saratoga. The race after. So you think the Whitney's going to be great. We got another grade 1 right after race 11, the Caesar Saratoga Derby. It's a grade 1 with $1 million, back-to-back $1 million races, back-to-back grade 1, back-to-back grade 1s. This one's going a mile and 3/16 on the turf, and we got. This is it, right? This is the one. This is the one that's going to challenge anybody in those sequences. Field of 11, and it's just chocked full of question marks and what to do. Emmanuel's now here. We thought he'd be in the last one. He got scratched out late. Whatever. Emmanuel's now here at 8-1. Nation's Pride and Stone Age come back for more for Appleby and Aiden O'Brien. Classic Causeway, who upset the Belmont Derby last time, he's back at 8-1. So if you like him, you're getting the price. Annapolis for Todd Pletcher. Dude, I mean, you pick your horse in this race and almost get to pick your price.
I mean, with the test and then this race and then, the Whitney and then this race, I may have to join Saratoga Slim and bum some smokes off speed.
I hope we jump to you at this race and you got a cig in your mouth.
He bumped another cig last time I saw him, by the way. He claims it's only his second cig of the year, one at Belmont and one at Saratoga. Anyway,
but yet every time you see him, he's smoking. So
every time, yeah. So anyway, let's go back to this. Listen, you're not supposed to play the favorite in this race, but I'm playing the favorite in this race. I've had a crush on Annapolis ever since his debut. I realized his first race in the Pin Mile was not great, but they basically Pletcher said, "Look, that course we shouldn't have been running over it. It's extremely soft." He absolutely hated it. This horse hated it. Said, all right, I'm going to buy in. I'm going to single him. In this next race, they had him in at Belmont over the firm turf course in Manila. He looked like the star we thought he was. I realized this is a different breed that he's got to go up against today, on Saturday. I understand that. Most of these horses got beat by Classic Causeway last time out. So how good were they really? I'll take the new shooter. Give me Annapolis. I think he's going to win, and I get it. If you don't want to play him at 5-2 here, I totally understand. I just like him way too much. I'm hoping some of these other ones take money and maybe he floats up a little bit. I'm going Annapolis. I really think that race was an eye opener. I think he'll like this extra distance. I think he's going to run huge here.
I mean, I kind of expected you to pick him just because I know how you have a crush on Annapolis, and you know, and to be fair, like, what's not to like about him, really? You know, these first two races ran a mile 16th and won. And of course, he is going longer here, but nothing to say that he can't get that. I hate to do it, really. I feel a little. Because when you brought that in, it hurt a little bit when you said all these horses got beat by Classic Causeway last time out. So how good are they? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. You know, but I'm gonna take another. Can I take another whack at Stone Age here?
I think it's smart to do that. Yeah.
I picked him in the Belmont Derby, and you know, like, he didn't act like he loved it. Obviously, he drew way, way wide. He's not super inside this time either. It's 10 hole, but he's not way out there. He didn't like it. It didn't seem like he finally got his legs going, got going. Here he came. I don't know. I like the fact, actually, that Velasquez is aboard. I don't know how you feel about, you know, I think you can look at that two different ways. Like, oh, Ryan Moore didn't come with him. That must mean they don't think he's got a chance now. Or you can look at it like, hey, you got a guy that knows what he's doing over here. Yeah, there you go, Kevin. I just think Stone Age is too good. You know, this is a horse that was bet down to 3-1, 3.5 to 1 in the, Kazoo Derby. You know, like, that's a huge race, right? This horse has been the favorite multiple times overseas. He's better than third to Classic Causeway. So I was kind of between picking Stone Age and Nation's Pride. I'll take a better price in number 10. I like Stone Age.
I tell you what, I think it's a smart pick. I've got him second. I think if you're going to, like what Kevin B said here, if you're going to take the 410, just take those euros right back and say, listen, they're going to get the pace. And the second time United States, they're going to win. I don't blame you all. Listen, this is no offense to Ryan Moore and no offense to Frankie Dettori. They were awful that day at Belmont. They were awful. So I don't mind at all that Buick is on the 4 now and Velasquez is on the 10. They can't get worse trips. I think they're going to run a hell of a lot better.
Well, we'll talk about Buick here in a second because I think that's going to help as well. I agree. I didn't want to thrash them too much, but I'm glad you did because
they were awful.
That ride riders. I know that's why it made no sense. That ride that Moore had on Stone Age that day, you're like, what are you doing? It made no sense.
And
so
Dettori may even have been worse.
Oh yeah.
Like if you want to play the 4 or the 10 here back, do it. I'm not going to talk you off either one of them.
Yeah, and much faster pace this time as well. I agree, Nick. I think the pace seems like it's going to be a little bit more solid. I just think I'm at the I think I'm at the point now where I'm like, and maybe I'm wrong, right? I've been wrong once or twice. That can you get both of these euros beat twice now? Can that really happen? You know, are our turf horses that good? I don't know. I don't think they are.
I don't think so. I think Annapolis is good enough, but the rest of them I don't like. I even like the 7 a little bit at 10 to 1 Royal Patronage. You know, I think these euros are going to come back and quote unquote get revenge a bit. I don't think it's Classic Causeway's race, and I know everybody. It's unbelievable when a horse wins at 26 to 1. You get on Twitter and everybody bet him. It's like, how is he 26 to 1? But
I know, right? I don't see it. I don't know how people didn't like him. Like,
I know, yeah. And it's like, wow, we did previews for this race, and not one person said he liked him. I think maybe one person in our chat, maybe, but But I mean, I don't think they'll let him get away with those kind of fractions again, knowing what he just did. And
there's no way Emmanuel's going to wreak havoc in this race, like we thought he would do in the Belmont Derby, because he scratches, and then everyone's like, oh, well, when he scratched, I knew Classic. Well, he's not going to get that this time. Those two will create some issues on the front end.
I'll say this: if Emmanuel wins, I will be really mad. Because that means Emmanuel probably would have won the last one too, So, yeah, I think Emmanuel's got to go. I think main event being in the race off of that race at Delaware in the Kent, he really showed good speed, and he's done that in the past. I think him being in the race will help that pace a little bit too.
Yeah. What do you say? It'll be solid. It will definitely be solid.
Why is Ethereal a road in this race?
He's a turf horse, isn't he? I don't know. Quality road. Dude. I thought it was the greatest entry of all time. And Saya's got the mounts. How about that?
Oh, that's what it's like. Well, shit. Maybe he's loaded for the turf. I don't know.
If he wins, I don't know what.
Well, they're like, he might run in the Curlin, or he might run in the Jim Dandy, or he might run in the Haskell, and he shows up in the Saratoga Derby. And I'm like, okay, all right.
Oh shit! Yeah,
we'll see.
He does. Kevin. He does have the pedigree. I agree. I mean,
a Warfront mare,
Warfront mare, and a quality road sire, and of elusive quality, of course. And then he closes like this. He does close like a freight train. Maybe he's got that big kind of.
Maybe.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be great if Classic Causeway wins the first round on his turf debut? And some bullshit at 3-0 Road wins the second leg in his turf debut. That would be great. What's the Ethereal Road over Classic Causeway? Exactly.
And I say let's get Wida Barrio for the third leg of this thing. Try turf and win.
Get him in there. Shit, he might need to be on turf at this point. He's bad now. All right, let's go to Del Mar. Lucas and McPeak were hammered at the horse.
Vinny's wife wanted to go to the Horseshoe last weekend. I was like, maybe not the Horseshoe tonight. Maybe a different night.
Someone's like, hey, I dare you to run. Don't even run that horse. Run him on the turf. He's like, okay. All right, I will. Here he does. Shows up. All right. Don't doubt the coach, guys. Let's go to Del Mar.
That's true.
Let's go to Del Mar on Saturday, race 9, the Clement L. Hirsch Stakes, grade 1, 400K, fillies, mares, 3-year-olds and up, going to 1 1/16 miles. Another Breeders' Cup race here. Breeders' Cup winning are in for the Longines Distaff. So we got a classic race. We got a Distaff race. Field of 7, Alterman lines up here, and She Dares the Devil. Your 8-5 morning line favorite. Won this race last year, so she comes back out to defend. I think it's going to be tough to beat her. What do you think?
Seems like she's the one to beat in here, and we kind of had her buried when we talked about her in the Fleur de Lis. Like, she's done, and she dominated.
I know.
So, I don't know. I think she wins this one. She should. Private Mission, maybe that's the horse to beat her, but I think She Dares the Devil is a little bit better. So here I am. I'm back on her. Like I said, she won it last year. I think she can win it this year.
Yeah, I mean, golly, Suse, we haven't seen since June of last year. I hate, the horse just keeps getting pushed off as far as, the horse is very talented. Honestly, I think the only horse that can beat her is Private Mission. I don't even like Private Mission that much, but the fact that Bob Baffert is back and, maybe she just, has one of those crazy performances. But yeah, She Dares the Devil she just seems so much better than the rest of this field. And I gotta admit, I think everyone needs to tread water here a little bit. Caution, because I don't typically bet She Dares the Devil. So
no, you never do.
I fade her quite often, and it's worked out some, but not as often as I would have liked. And so now maybe I'm gonna get burned by her here. But She Dares the Devil, that's the pick. I just think it's more than anything just a class level, and obviously Brad Cox didn't ship her out there to just run in this race. He's got options with her. He wants to defend that title. So number 5, She Dares the Devil. I think she wins here as well. All right, Halterman. I think it's your time to shine here. Let's go to West Virginia. Let's go to race 8 at Mountaineer on Saturday. West Virginia Derby, grade 3, 500K for 3-year-olds, going to 1 1/8 miles. Field of 7 lines up for this one. I'm talking about the old Triple Crown horses, the horses that couldn't quite cut it. Well, this is like the circuit, right? And like the horses that kind of get around the Indiana Derby and the Iowa Derby and West Virginia Derby. Where are those horses going to end up? And look, Simplification in here at 5-2. Homebrew getting a 3-1. You've got 2-1 on We the People. Are you going to play We the People, Halterman? And Skippy Longstocking, the horse who deserves so much credit for what he did in the Belmont Stakes at 5-1. Halterman, where are you going with this? It's like the who's who. These are your kind of horses, man.
Yeah, something like that, right? I am going to play We the People. I feel like last time out, people were on him and because of the pace, but I just kind of feel like this is his type of race, right? Like, I don't think he's a Belmont horse. I think he's a Peter Pan horse, and I think he's a West Virginia horse, right? So I think it's a really good spot for him. I think he'll run well here. I think the the Mountaineer track plays to his running style pretty well. I like actually that Ricardo Santana gets aboard. I want him to just be really, really aggressive. I thought the biggest problem in the Belmont, and you mentioned it, he let a horse like Skippy Longstocking press him. Don't do that. Just get him out there. And if he fades, but at least you're trying to bury him early. That's what you got to do with We the People, right? So I think that's what they'll do. I think they'll send him, and hopefully he can hold on. I don't blame you if you want to play Simplification. He's a nice horse, and I think he's got a good shot to win. Homebrew's doing really well. I don't blame you if you want to play him. I don't think We the People will be 2-1. I think he'll float up. I think some of these other ones will get bet a little harder. And therefore, I think he's going to be 5-2, 3-1. And I like him here. So I'm going to give We the People one more shot. If he loses here, it's like, yeah, he's just not very good. But I think this is his race.
What's funny is, like, it's the same horse right to his outside. Can he get past him this time? Will Skippy put the pressure on him again and soften him up? Yeah, I mean, from a pace standpoint, maybe even from a talent level, We the People seems like he should be tough to beat. I've never been a huge fan of him, and so I think Skippy. I kind of like the fact that Skippy's out right there. Maybe can bother him a little bit, but I like Homebrew. I've liked him for a little while, and gosh, he looked good in the Pegasus, and we kind of thought maybe where would he end up? We were in the Haskell. Well, doesn't he just kind of has that feel of that Brad Cox horse that he just kind of maneuvers around in the background throughout the summer and kind of picks up all these wins in these smaller level races, and then can fire him into one of these big ones down the road, like a Pennsylvania Derby or something like that. But still, I think Homebrew is very good, and I like the fact that there's speed signed on in this race, like you mentioned. We the People being the big speed horse there, but if I'll be worried, I'll be honest, if he's out there cruising doing 24s and 48s with no pressure. But I'm hoping that Homebrew is good enough with just a soft. If he gets softened up a little bit, I think Homebrew's shown, other than one race, really, that Smarty Jones, he brings it. He fires, and I hope he fires again here. That's my pick to win here. Any thoughts on Simplification? Is he another White-Abario?
Yeah, I think he can win, but I would rather play Homebrew or We the People. I'm with you. I almost had Homebrew on top. I think he's a lot like White-Abario, and I think what we're learning is, while those Florida Derby, or not Florida Derby, but the Florida Circuit was okay, the horses that actually won that race aren't going to be the best, or the races, I should say, aren't going to be the best horses moving forward. They were just the right horses for the right time. Simplification, pretty solid, was able to take advantage of a couple fields, and White-Abario kind of the same. But the best horses that ran down there were the Pletcher horses, Mo Donegal, who just wasn't going to win on that configuration and kept getting better, and Charge It, who tried to do too much too soon and should have won the Florida Derby and just was an idiot. But White-Abario, Simplification, they're just average. And I think you try to beat them in races like this. We beat White-Abario in the Ohio Derby. I think you try to beat him in the West Virginia Derby. Am I going to be shocked Simplification wins? Of course not. He's a good horse, but he's not great. And I think one of these horses can beat him.
Yeah, you gotta take a wait and see. He's going this way, he's falling down. The other one, like in Homebrew's case, going up. You're gonna. This is the comment of the night. KS jumps in the stream, another garbage field, and then follows it immediately with, "Is this the Whitney field?" Like maybe feel the room a little bit before you comment on the garbage field. It's like Kevin said, no, it's actually the perfect field for this kind of race, which is the West Virginia Derby. It's totally West Virginia Derby. It's West Virginia Derby written all over it.
I thought for this being, again, let's drop in and say this is the West Virginia Derby field that we're looking at. It seems to make pretty good sense that, yeah, it's a pretty decent race for the West Virginia Derby. Exactly.
Right. If it was, no, I agree. If it was the Whitney,
now if this was the
we
Whitney,
we got some issues.
KS, I'm 100% with you. If this was the Whitney, I would probably quit my job.
Yeah, something's gone really wrong here, and I'd wonder why we're still talking at an hour and 16 minutes. Like why do we give a shit about the Whitney that's got simplification? And anyways, all right, let's go to the final race of rapid fire here. And by the way, KS, after we're done, go back, rewind it. We talked all about the Whitney for a good 30 minutes. So
it's
make sure you go
race.
back. It's good. Yeah, it's a little bit better. It's a little slightly better than the West Virginia Derby. Yeah. All right, Sunday, the Saratoga Oaks. That's Saratoga. Race 7, the Saratoga Oaks Invitational, grade 3, 700K for fillies, 3-year-olds, going 1 3/16 miles on the turf. Smaller field than in the Derby, but you got a field of 6, and 3 of them are Chad Browns, an Appleby, a Walsh, and a Wilkes. So how about that? Chad Brown, is it which Chad Brown to you?
Dude, if McCulloch loses this race, I'm going to just scream at the top of my lungs. I love this horse. She beat me twice at Churchill, just ran like shit. And I'm like, this damn horse. There's no way I'm playing this horse back in the Belmont Oaks. And of course she wins. Like I thought she was a really good horse, right? And she did, and she is. And now it's like, okay, are you going to lose this? You shouldn't. Listen, I've always thought very highly of her. So I'm going to go McCulloch. I'll be really mad if she loses.
Honestly, maybe I'm just like still heartbroken about it, just because when she won, I'm the same way. We've picked her 3 races in a row. All of them got beat, and then she goes and wins that race when I was dead against her. So I think I'm just a little hurt about it. So I can't go back to her, although I get it, and she definitely has a huge chance. Yeah, how about that? It's not a Lexus. I'd like to test drive a Lexus, but it is a Buick. How about that? With the Moonlight. I'm going back to her. I don't think I picked her. I think I picked was it Concert Hall? Yeah, Concert Hall, the Aiden O'Brien.
This comment kills me. I'm sorry. That's great. All right. Yeah. Kevin B says garbage field. Grade 1 Diana deserves better than this. That's the best comment we've ever had on the show. All right. I'm sorry, Jake. Go ahead.
I hope KS knows he's created a internal joke we're going to run on this show for a long, long time.
Oh gosh. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I agree. Diana's shit.
I couldn't hold it in. I know you get mad when I laugh when you're talking. I just couldn't hold that one in.
Yeah, you never listen to what I say anyways. But how about with the Moonlight? I think this horse last time out, we talked about how bad the Tory was, right? Last time at the at Belmont, gets Buick back, the regular rider for with the Moonlight for Charles Appleby. Obviously he did do quite well, hitting at 75%. And just seems like another situation like I talked about with Stone Age, that she's obviously ran probably too good to lose that day. Ran a nice race and just got caught by McCulloch. And maybe we'll find out that it's a very similar result. McCulloch actually is that good and she's figured it all out. But I'm going to go with getting Buick. It's Appleby. He brings her back to run again. I think she gets the job done here. I think she's forwardly placed enough because there's not a huge ton of speed in here. Forwardly placed enough that she makes it a little difficult for some of these horses to run down late with, not having a lot of pressure.
I think you're right. I think I'm going to go too deep, and that's going to be the other one I use. I like her a lot, and yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how bad was Tory, and can Buick be better, or were the horses just not very good in those races? We're going to find out. Well, Sunday night we'll know the answers to both those questions.
We will, and I think you're going to find out a lot about a lot of these divisions. This weekend, it's a lot about turf, obviously, and the classic division. But we're going to find out a lot about some of these turf horses, especially, and where they belong. Can they make, the frustrating part with some of these horses, like, is you look at Tiz the Bomb, and not to keep going on about that horse, but we said it all year, right? This is a turf horse. This is like a legit turf horse. Just like, if this horse can't get back to form on turf, you've completely lost any shot at getting back to the Breeders' Cup, well, at least with any chance at the Breeders' Cup, because of the need to run in the Derby and do that whole deal. And so it's unfortunate, but hopefully the horse gets back on track this weekend. We'll find out. Again, for this race, for the Saratoga Oaks, I got number 3 with the Moonlight. Halterman's got number 2, McCulloch.
Good stuff. Oh man.
Yeah, KS. It is what it is, right? I don't know. I think it's all to each their own. I don't know if you don't if you want a large field, then it's not your field. But you've got Life is Good versus Olympiad and Hot Rod Charlie all in there. If you go back and listen to it, you might know if we're excited about it or not.
Well, I mean, I think that the whole deal is it's another short field, and I get it. And if
it's an issue,
it is for sure. But I would rather, honest to God, I would rather play the Whitney with that type of field than say the San Diego last weekend, because yeah, it's a big field, but they're all stupid horses, right? It's just like, okay, we got 10, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to get to Royal Ship.
Nope. Never, ever am I getting to Royal Ship. Sorry. It's not.
But I do get it. And if you don't want to bet short fields, honestly, Del Mar's done a great job getting the larger fields. And they've won, as far as a betting product, and giving you a lot of interest to bet on, Del Mar is winning this summer.
Oh, yeah.
No
sure.
argument. Yeah.
They've done a great job of getting their fields. I think, but from a quality perspective, obviously Saratoga is it.
Yeah.
I think because Del Mar can prove to be extremely frustrating.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like my rebuttal to a lot of the issue, and I get, and trust me, I'm annoyed with it as well at times, but when I look at the Whitney, let's just use the Whitney as an example, since we're talking about it. Like, I get American Revolution scratching sucks, because that was another. That's a legit horse in there. But let's pretend he's not in. Let's pretend he's in the race still. Who else? Who are we missing? So if you want a 10-horse field, let's just say, so you need 4 more horses, right? Because the 6 horses are in it. You need 4 more horses. Okay, Flightline's 1. You would love to have seen Flightline go to the Whitney.
Yeah, but he's just not going to.
No, but you know what I mean. But like, the rest would be filler anyways, is my point.
The problem is like, whoops, hold on. Almost put you in timeout, Kevin. The problem is this, like the Alydar was today. So Art Collector and Mass Parade. That's the kind of horse that that are on your backside that you can go get to run in this race if they don't have an Alydar. But instead they do, and it gets 6 horses, and the Whitney gets 6 horses. Mm-hmm. The flip side of it is you're keeping horses on the grounds because maybe Art Collector goes to West Virginia to run in the Governor's Cup on Saturday instead of staying at Saratoga to run the Alydar, because they don't want to run against Life is Good right now. And so that's
the problem. Just like Kevin said, or the Charlestown Classic, or And so that's a good point too, because like we've talked about this a lot on the show. It's like it's not like the Whitney isn't the Travers, it isn't the Derby, it isn't a Breeders' Cup, whatever. Like those cases, you might run a horse in one of those races because, hey, it's the Travers, why not? But I get the Whitney's a big race, don't get me wrong, but if you're sitting there like, okay, we're gonna bring back Art Collector to go in there and get thrashed by, Life is Good, you know what I mean? Like, or we can go and win today. And you can't say you blame them, right? Why would you want to willingly enter a horse? Now, if it's Travers and you get to have that little experience, or it's a Derby, or it's a Breeders' Cup race, and that happens every year, where it's like, well, we're just glad to be here. We'll see what happens. In the Whitney, you're trying to run well.
You have to kind of put yourself in the owner's shoes. If you own Art Collector, the Whitney is not a great spot for him. So a lot of people are like, well, we got to eliminate all these stakes and force Art Collector and horses like him to run in the Whitney so we can have better betting interest. That's really not in the best interest of the owners, though, to do that. Because you're taking away spots where they can win, make some money, and move on to maybe try that next time, or you know what I mean? So there's give and take to all of this. It is a problem. The problem is it's happening in all of their stakes races. Like if we had an 8-horse field in the Jim Dandy, and I can't remember all the short races, but there's been a lot of the 8-horse field in the Coaching Club. And then we get to this weekend and it's like, well, there's 6 in the Whitney. I don't think anybody would really worry about that. But when it's happening every weekend and it's happening in races where there's not really monsters. Yes, I know Epicenter was great. He wasn't a monster going into the Jim Dandy. There was no reason to be like terrified of him.
No.
But the problem is you got the Curlin, you got the Haskell, and they're all running on top of each other. But are you going to tell Monmouth not to run the Haskell? No. Are you going to, the Curlin, maybe it doesn't make sense, but would Artorias wanted to run in the Jim Dandy? Would they wanted to run him there? Probably not, right? So they probably just would have searched for an allowance. Creative Minister, you could have forced to run in the Jim Dandy. I get it, but it's a difficult situation because the bettors and the owners, sometimes it's not what's best for the owners is sometimes not best for the bettors. And it's a problem. And when your horse population is shrinking, especially when it comes to dispersing them among a bunch of trainers versus a few trainers, it's a problem that's almost unavoidable. And everybody says, we got to figure this out. What is the answer? That's the thing. I don't have an answer. What is the answer? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Especially when you have, like you said, you have a lot of the same trainers. Well, they're going to pick their spots and they're not going to run them all on top of each other. And
yeah, but if you have a great horse, why would you not send him to one of the top trainers? Like, are we asking a guy that paid, say, $800,000 for a yearling to send it to Rob Atras? Or to send it to, I don't know, just name some of these guys who are good trainers, but they're trying to maximize the value of their horse. If it's a good, talented horse, they're going to call up guys like Pletcher and Brown and Asmussen. It's natural. That's what happens. And I don't love it, but that's the reality of it, right? Less horses, more people own them, less horses, less owners going to less trainers. It creates a huge problem.
Look at that. It's 20-0. Do you see that?
Yeah, I think our bets are good. Blue Bombers won for Magic. Somachosaurus won at Del Mar. It looks like the Raiders are going to win for me. Papa Dude lost his over-under. They did go over that total. So we went 3-1 again. So another good week.
What did he bet?
He bet under 8.5 for the Braves and the Mets. And I think they're at like 10 or 12 now. The Mets blew them out early.
Man.
Yeah. But he got the Phillies yesterday, so can't give him too much crap about it today.
Another big day.
Yep.
It's 2 for 2 on the week so far. So
yep.
All right, that's all the time we have. Check us out at racingnews.com for our free picks and our premium selections on our products page. Click the Get Racing News Premium button at the menu at racingnews.com to learn more. Remember to go get your hands on that inside track for the 2022 Whitney Stakes wagering guide. It's now available, 12 pages. Covers the Whitney, covers all the stakes action on Saturday at Saratoga, as well as the entire card. All right, we are your destination site for all free horse racing picks to all the horse racing tracks. We're on Twitter at racing_dudes. Instagram and Facebook, you can find all episodes of Blinkers Off by visiting our podcast page, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all the places you listen to it. We're also on YouTube as well. So if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. And make sure you hit that like, subscribe to our channel, and you can watch all our videos, any kind of video, all Blinkers Off, all Magic Mics. You can listen and watch on our YouTube page as well. Speaking of the Magic Mike show, they did the Saturday Saratoga late pick 5. So if you want their analysis of that late pick 5 sequence, a great sequence, how they're playing it, the strategy behind it. My guess is, I haven't listened to it yet. My guess is Samich is definitely going to play against one heavy favorite of that sequence.
Well, surprise.
Just a hunch.
Surprise, Samich wasn't on the show. So.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Severs was. Hey, Severs, did you play against a favorite in all of Mike fashion? Let us know.
Tell you haven't watched it.
That you can tell how much I watched the Magic Mike, right? Didn't even know the guy wasn't there.
You have to buy Samo bombs, Jared, to find out what Samich is going to do Saturday.
Oh yeah, that's true. I thought that was interesting. I was like, giving away the whole pick 5 there, Somo. Makes sense now. No one, Magic will just give his picks, and then Severs,
right.
Let me know if you have what favors you.
That makes sense. A $5 ticket makes sense on Saturday for sure.
Yeah, and to that real quick, we need to end the show because it's an hour and a half now. But to that point, Halterman, don't you think people like to criticize these weekends, and you and I have found these kind of weekends to be the most profitable whenever you can just pound these multi-race wagers. You can play the pick 5s for $5. You can play a pick 3 for $20 or whatever it is. Increase those bases and just hammer the shit out of them. And, you can trust that these sort, like, if you like, Matt Torreya or whatever it is, like, you can pound it and feel pretty good about getting those home. Play like a single 2 or 2 single or whatever it is, and then pound it.
Yep. Yeah, you just have to get creative. And like I said, if you're spending $50, let's say on a pick 5, and you play it for 50 cents, spend $50 on the pick 5 and play it for $5 or $10 and go short in those races. And you're probably going to make more money if you hit it than what you would make if you made a 50-cent pick 5 and you got some like 4 and 5 to 1s and 8 to 1s mixed in. Because you're going to get it for a hell of a lot more times. And that's what you have to do. There's enough in that late sequence with the Belmont Derby, or excuse me, with the Saratoga Derby and the maiden race right after it, maybe, that you might not have to do that, but it still sets up really well. There's other sequences that you can do it. And that's what you have to do. Instead of just bitching about something, think about doing something different. Right? I mean,
don't play if you're playing a 50-cent wager, don't on a multi-race thing, then you're doing it wrong on that, especially on that late pick 5 sequence.
Yeah.
You got to get creative.
Think. That's the key. Think about doing something different. Like, people are like, I can't play. I'm an exacta player, but I can't play an exacta when it's flight line and speaker's corner. Think about doing it something different. Think about taking flight line on top and putting one horse underneath that you think is a long shot happy saver that has a shot, and play it for $20 straight instead of boxing 3 horses. Like, the odds dictate the bets a lot of times. I'm not saying the odds shouldn't really dictate your handicapping, but it dictates your bets. And so it's the same thing here, right?
Yep. And to the point, like, when you press your opinions, it's these kind of days you press them, because I love these kind of days personally, because I love really good horses and I love handicapping like the big time races. And even if there's short fields, like it is what it is. But if I love Life is Good, I know what Life is Good is going to do for me today. I feel confident in what how the race is going to play out. If I'm at Metrea, I feel very confident. And it's like, and then if it doesn't happen, it's like, well, it doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you don't have 1,000 different excuses. It's just you pound it and you try to press your opinion. And even if you have a long shot, if you want a single Stone Age or something, like do that too.
Great example, Kevin B. Everybody looked at it as Jackie's Warrior. This is ridiculous. What a stupid ass race. He took Jackie's Warrior. He played him straight with knee deep in snow. The Exacta paid great. It's every race gives you an opportunity. You have to adjust to what the race gives you. And sometimes you're wrong and sometimes you're right. But as long as you're betting to betting what the race gives you, as long as you're doing that, you will win in the long run. You can't box Jackie's Warrior and 2 other horses like you do in maybe the 5th race on Saturday where there's 12 horses in a turf race and the favorite's 3-1. Can't do that every time, right? So this race you get to, it's like, okay, I love Jackie's Warrior. You look up at the tote. Fuck, he's 1-5. Well, I can't bet this race. No, you just take a long shot that you like in second. You bet the Exacta for, I don't know what you did, Kevin, but you could bet it for $10, $20. It's going to pay fine. You're going to get 4 or 5 to 1 on that bet. By the way, I met Knee Deep in Snow's owners out that night at Saratoga, and they're looking at the Breeders' Cup sprint. I think he's good enough, so we'll see.
Nice. Well,
anyway.
No, by the way, we do not, someone asked, we don't have a time limit. But, we've been going for an hour and a half now. And, we try to keep them at an hour. That's usually our goal. Blinkers off typically is longer than an hour. Fun fact, though, back in the day, 500 and what episode are we on now? 568. We do like one a week, so you guys can do the math. Back in the day when first 100, we used a third-party service. We were too cheap. The site didn't even exist really at that point. And we were too cheap. So let's just do it free. It was called Blog Talk Radio.
Yep.
And I think we had was it a 30-minute or an hour limit?
30 minutes.
And it was like, once it's over, it's over. And it would just cut you off. It would just be done.
Yep.
And so we progress. If you go back and listen to some of those episodes, which don't do it, you would we progressively go faster as the show went on because we'd realize, oh shit, we're getting out of time. And then by the end, it would just be flying through the picks. And then, so there you go.
Yeah. When
you said, are we on a time limit? It brought back mental flashbacks to those days. But anyways, final thoughts, Halterman, of the weekend. You're going to be there. How are you approaching it? What you got going on?
Oh, I mean, listen, it's another great weekend. And any weekend up here is a good one. And this is, other than the Travers, this is the best one. So I'm going to have fun. I'm not going to stress out too much about anything. And I'm going to enjoy being at the greatest racetrack in the world. And we're going to have a good time, Jared. I mean, I think I advise every one of you to do the exact same thing. Have fun. That's what it's all about.
I want you to, enjoy yourself. And I also want you to, remember that I saved the company $1,500 or so in flights. So I want you to remember that whenever I'm not there, have a drink or two for me. Because I don't think you can do, I don't think you can do $1,500 in damage.
No,
but I've seen you get close, but yeah, Pegasus. Have fun for me. Well, maybe we go to the Travers if Kelly gets a horse in there, huh?
Oh, we're definitely good. Yes, 100%. Yeah, we can't miss that.
There you go. All right, guys. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Again, make sure you hit like. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll be live on Saturday. Me and Magic, and probably have a couple guests in there occasionally. Halterman maybe hops on there live from Saratoga, giving us paddock reports. I expect him to look and dress just like Maggie does on Saturday, right? No? Maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Sure. We'll be live again. I don't know the time. I feel like he said somewhere in the 4, maybe early, maybe around 3 p.m. Central. We'll see. Keep an eye out for it.
He told me 69 o'clock. Weird.
That doesn't surprise me. So. I kind of expected I wouldn't hear anything from him until Saturday morning or Saturday, like at 1. Hey, you ready to go live? Okay. All right. Let me know. 4 Eastern. Apparently, he's already got it listed up. See? There you go. 3 o'clock. I was right. Nick knows more than I do. I appreciate it.
Well, sure.
Yeah, hit that notification button. Ding. That's right. Make sure you go do that. Again, I'm Jared Welch. He's... Oh, I think I was trying to tee up. He's Aaron Halterman. I thought you were going to say that he's Mike Somich. Anyways.
No.
Good luck this weekend, guys. Good luck in the Whitney.